global phenomenon, from being the top-selling manga to having legendary animators working on the manga. This series has taken the entire world by storm and has been consistently fulfilling its role as the flag bearer of the anime and manga industry for more than 25 years now. Brimming with the spirit of adventure and full of life characters, One Piece has consistently awarded its fans with meaningful twists and unexpected turns. The fans of the series actively participating in the One Piece community by presenting their own theories on what is going to happen in the series. And more often than not, the fans fail to predict the mind-blowing twists and turns that make this story as wonderful as it is. But it's not like the arrows never hit their mark, as there have been numerous occasions when the fans hit the bullseye with their predictions. So, let us get into some of the spiciest theories that fans got right. The first one here is Sabo being alive. Sabo is currently one of the most important people in the entire world, but before Dressrosa, Luffy and all the other people who knew him thought that he was dead. In Luffy's post-war flashback, we see that Luffy had in fact two big brother figures, Ace and Sabo. Being the son of a really despicable noble, Sabo got sick of the environment he was living in. He felt suffocated and decided to become a pirate to live his life the way he wanted to. But his journey had an abrupt end when he accidentally set sail at the same time as a celestial dragon and got blown away to bits. But some fans suspected that something was wrong with how we never saw his body, and how it doesn't make sense for Oda to introduce a character and kill him right after we saw Ace die, especially considering how Dragon was also on the island. And in Dressrosa arc, we see that they were right. They hit the money with how he got saved, where he has been, and especially the fact that he's alive to begin with. It was a really popular theory, and it gave us a sigh of relief that Oda's vision can be predicted sometimes. Next up, we have one of the most foreshadowed and hinted things in the entire story. It's like Oda wanted us to guess this one with how often he pointed it out. Throughout Alabasta arc, Sanji consistently referred to himself as Prince, while also showing his strange reactions to words like family and failure. So, the intelligent fandom of the series correctly predicted the fact that he was in fact a real prince, and definitely had something more to him before he met Zeph. And this is one of the twists in the story too, so getting that right is definitely amazing. Next up, we have the theory regarding one of the craziest villains in the series. Doflamingo has always been cunning, conniving, and really smart with everything he does. From his speech at Marineford to him correctly turning everything Law had planned for him on its head. He is definitely someone who would have connections in high places. And what's higher than the celestial dragons? Yeah, this was also guessed by the fans correctly, as they knew that he definitely had the cocky attitude of a celestial, and given the fact that he could bend the world government to his whims, he must definitely have some connections up top. So from there, it was just a matter of putting two and two together, and if there's one thing that's common between Oda and his fans, it's that they love to connect things. Moving on, we know that One Piece is filled with a vast variety of characters, each of them with their own traits and quirks. When we found out that Momo's fruit was made by Vegapunk himself, we knew that it must be different from all the other bootleg fruits that Caesar made, since the whole theme of the arc was about Caesar being a lesser version of Vegapunk. So the fact that Vegapunk also failed in recreating a devil fruit felt really weird at the moment, but some fans were smart enough to see through Oda's deception, as they correctly predicted that Vegapunk must be a perfectionist, and it's only because he is such a perfectionist that he called his own invention a failure when he couldn't replicate the exact color of Kaido's fruit. They predicted that there was absolutely nothing wrong with Momo's fruit except the fact that it was a different color than Kaido's fruit, so that makes it another win for the theory community. Way back when Wano was in its very early stages, one of the top One Piece YouTubers claimed that Kinemon and the others come from a different time. He claimed that there's a sufficient evidence to back the claim that all the samurai that we met before entering Wano were in fact from a much different time than the current one. He claimed that the tone of their voice and the fact that Momo seriously claimed to have met Roger indicates that he was alive during the time Roger was still a living pirate on the seas, and the theory was a huge success as it was right on all accounts. Momo did in fact meet Roger, the Scabbards were in fact present of Odin's execution, and they had used Toki's time travel fruit to move forward in time to make some allies. So either that YouTuber is Oda, or we have someone who lives and breathes One Piece, since he made such an absurd claim and actually proved it. Further on the list, we have one of the most anticipated moments in the entire show. Ever since the series introduced Zoro, he has amassed a huge fan following, with some lunatics even claiming that he is somehow stronger than Luffy. But even aside from them, many fans claim that Zoro has an ambition fit for a king just like Luffy. He has the courage to dream of being something as big as the strongest swordsman in the seas, so he definitely deserves the same treatment as Luffy and should have Conqueror's Haki. While most of it was just a wild conjecture and wishful thinking on Zoro fans' part, the fact of the matter is that it really did happen. So this spot of the correct theories goes to Zoro fans and their speculations. Now coming back to some more actual smart work from the fans, it is amazing that they connected the dots on Big Mom being Lola's mother. Lola has a giant stature herself, and claims that her mother is a really strong pirate. With her knowledge of the Beaver cards confirming that she's from the New World, it took the fans just a short amount of time to figure out that that her strong pirate mother was in fact one of the 4 emperors of the sea, Big Mom. It might be cheeky, but nobody can deny that it took some good intuition and some really good insight. Last but definitely not least on the list is the theory about Wano's traitor. Now this is a really impressive one, as it's a complicated subject, and the answer was someone really unexpected. Who was Wano's traitor was recently one of the biggest mysteries of One Piece, and the fact that somebody actually guessed the name correctly is really absurd to me. Yet it makes perfect sense at the same time. It is a feat once again achieved only by a YouTuber. He correctly predicted that Kanjuro was a traitor and stated numerous reasons for it. He started right from his introduction and showed how he was the most non-serious out of all scabbards. He also pointed out that he was never very helpful even once and made things worse every single time. He also mentioned how all the things that Kanjuro knew were leaked to Orochi without anything else getting leaked. He also claimed that the birds we see in the panel when the scabbards arrive in the future are in fact drawings made by him. So with common sense, he proved that Kanjuro was a traitor. Of course, most of the credit goes to Oda himself for hiding him in plain sight and giving so many hints that most fans couldn't decipher. But at the end of the day, the YouTuber figured it out and definitely showed the world that you can actually get things right if you simply pay attention to plot. There are several more like these, but the fact remains that even with all these, most fans simply got most of the things wrong. They weren't able to predict the course of the story despite Oda hiding hints in plain sight, but whatever they did with the ones we just mentioned and some others is phenomenal work and should always be encouraged, because theorizing stuff is what makes the One Piece community so interesting and gives a lot of insight into many what-if scenarios that were never thought possible. What's even more interesting, however, is our list of videos that you still haven't watched, so like and subscribe to the channel so you can watch all the other brilliant content that we have made on this channel.